The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on it. He missed the complete. That is crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
Off the southern tip of New York's Lake Seneca lies Watkins Glen International, which this morning plays host to the Apex Online Racing Formula Renault 2.0 League. This 10-minute streaming award-worthy pre-race show will count us down to when the lights go off for the opening round of 12 on the Season 4 schedule. And all the racing from both the 40-minute feature and the 25-minute sprint can be seen live as it happens here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Hello from the Empire State and welcome to another GSRC broadcast. I'm your host, Bill Soups On. Helping me call the action is Richard Losper. Turning the knobs and pushing the sliders is our director, Amjad Yaman, with camera locations created exclusively for GSRC by the Ansel Adams of iRacing, Dougie Beard. There are several thoroughbred series in the GSRC stable, and let me tell you, the pedigree of the Apex Online Racing has everybody at the Global Sim Racing Channel excited to add AOR Formula Renault 2.0, the league, to our company paddock. GSRC is going to bring you the action live as it happens. Our goal is to not only track the leaders, but also try to highlight the battles throughout the field when time allows. We hope not to just bring you action down the straight and through the corner, but tell the story of the whole race, and as the campaign progresses, the saga of the season. So with that said, let me introduce a man whose accent has stolen my wife's heart, the Australian sage, my booth partner, Richard Losper.
Thank you, Bill, and a very good day to all our viewers, and let us talk a little bit about, first of all, we'll get to the track, but I want to welcome the Apex Online Racing Group on board with GSRC. We are very excited, as Bill said, to be broadcasting this new series. We've done some laps in this car. It's a great car that they've chosen to drive. So let's talk a little bit now about the track that they're going to be utilizing here today, Bill. This, of course, is Watkins Glen, a track which has been around for a long time. They opened officially in 1956. They've run a lot of different types of racing here. They even do some NASCAR racing at this track on a regular basis. It's built with asphalt and concrete. It really does need a resurfacing by the looks of it anyway. And it's 5.34 kilometers or 3.4 miles if you're looking at the full track, which we are. Today we have got the full, it's called the Watkins Glen boot layout, which has the inner loop and all the good parts of the boot down the back of the course as well. 11 turns they have. Great course. And let's just go through it. So you come down the front straight away. You have a 90-degree right-hand turn, which is called the 90. You then go up through the famous S's, a very section of the track where draft normally comes into play. You then have the inner loop, Bill, which is a chicane in reality. Coming out of the chicane, you go straight into a right-hand curved section called the carousel. Then you go down into the boot, and the boot consists of the chute, and then you go through the heel and the toe, and you come out on the other end, and you finish a lap around this track. Now, I need to talk to our director. Do we have a lap guide for this track? Yes, we do. Let's have a look at a lap guide and you see what I'm talking about.
All right, we've got Amjad Yaman in the GSRC Formula Renault 2.0, so let's do a lap around Watkins Glen. Coming down to turn 1, you can brake very late, but the drop in elevation will make it easy to overshoot the apex. You'll be able to track out over the curb a little bit, but try not to overdo it, since it can in fact hurt your exit speed. And you'll see later why you need that. As we climb up the S's, it's flat out and mostly a matter of minimizing your inputs in order to help carry the momentum. The high downforce will mean too wide could be possible through this notoriously narrow section of track. But as we get to the top, here's where every ounce of speed will pay dividends. The backstretch will be where everyone tries to set up passes since it ends in the heavy braking for the inner loop. But if you're trying to outbrake someone, be wary because this chicane is single file. Touching wheels in an open wheel car rarely goes well for both parties. Now we've hit the carousel where you brush off speed on entry, find the grip, and then bring the power back on once you're sure it'll stick. Not much time to relax, so switch sides and line up for the chute. The downhill braking makes it hard to get the car to turn in, but if you can hit it right, a late apex will pay you back well here. After that, you'll want to drift the car off to the left and spot your brake marker for the toe of the boot. This is another turn with a very late apex. It's going to be especially important to be able to apply the throttle as early as you can here, because the uphill of the exit will punish hesitation with a huge loss of momentum. Keep holding that left side and take a glance in your mirrors in case your competitor got a run on you. Then throw out the anchors for the heel of the boot. This is a place where you might see some passes made, but you'll definitely need to do it on the inside. Coming off, switch over to the right and slow up for the return to the main course. This is a really awkward turn because it's off camber while also requiring a late apex. Confidence when applying the gas can either help you or send you off into the tires. From there, we fly into Indianapolis. Just a little lift takes us through in this weather, but immediately we'll want to hug the left side to set up for the final turn. There's a lot of banking here to carry your speed. Just don't get greedy and smash it into the outside wall. Hopefully, you kept it on the black stuff and can now finish a lap around Watkins Glen.
I'm Jed Yaman behind the wheel, Joe Peak behind the mic as they take us around a lap at speed at the Glen. Now let's get up to speed about the AOR Formula Renault 2.0 League. This is the fourth season in the Renault, but the series roots stem all the way back to the original Pro Mazda League. Now, starting in the winter of 2014, there were 5 seasons in the Pro Mazda. Kerry Nolden was the first champion, and then Justin Brunner had that three-peat that you see going on there. Phil Reed is the only former Pro Mazda champion still racing. Look for him in the number 44 Fusion Motorsports Renault today. For 2016, AOR switched from the Pro Mazda to the Renault 2.0, and then the Renault, of course, should pronounce that correctly. Scheduled to race this season is Jean-Francois Gourdin, who won the first crown, and then the reigning champion will try to defend, and he's here today, that being Silvasti. Let's take a quick look at the team championship. Now, that's kind of evolved over time. AOR Blue, manned early on by the 3-time champion Justin Brunner, that's kind of morphed into Aperture Motorsports, and now for this season taking the form of Fusion Motorsports. And of course, teams are made up of 2 drivers only, with their combined score counting towards the crown. So Richard, we mentioned that Silvasti is back to defend his championship. Last season, he ran away with the crown, winning 7 to 12 races. My guess is his dominance kind of encouraged the series organizers to shake things up a bit for this season. Tell us a bit about the unique format we'll be seeing over the next 12 events.
Right now, this series, the fans of this series may well know a little bit more about it than we do at this stage, but we've done our homework, so let's go through and talk about the race series details. So this, of course, is season number 4. This is round number 1, the opening round of a 12-round series, which is very exciting. They do have drop races. 2 events can be dropped. Each driver is allowed to drop 2 events. They've got a combined feature and sprint race. So each event consists of 2 races. The car, of course, is the Formula Renault 2. Used to be the Pro Mazda, which also used to be called the Star Mazda. But now it's the Renault 2, an engine, 2-liter engine on this car. Beautiful car to drive, 4-cylinder, 16-valve, naturally aspirated. Puts out about 210 brake horsepower. So it's got a little power, gets up to a very decent speed as well. They have open setups here, and the races are 40% fuel limited. So that's about 20 liters of fuel they can get into the tank. And so pit stops will be a feature as well. The format are 2 races per event, 2 winners, a feature and a sprint race. So each race in the event has their own winner. They have standing starts, no fast repairs, Bill. They have an incident cap, and it does vary, and we'll get you to talk about that in a few moments. So it varies for the feature and the sprint race. The weather is dynamic and it carries over from a practice session which is held on a previous day. So those are the basic details. Bill, let's talk a little bit about the event format.
Sure. Well, you have qualifying, which is going to be 2 laps long, that they're doing that right now. Then you have the feature race. It's 40 minutes with 1 stop. It's a pretty large window. Now, the grid is going to be set up sequentially by the qualifying, so it's pretty much straightforward. However they qualify, that's how they're going to set it up. There's an incident cap for this 40-minute feature race. 13x. Now, that's going to not get you out of the race, but you're going to lose half of your points if you reach that 13 mark. 17 DQs you. You're out of the race. You get no points. And then the points are the standard feature points, which are full point value. Then, after that's done, there's going to be a short little break. They're going to come back for what they're going to call the 25-minute sprint race. There's going to be no stop with this one. Now, the grid will be inversed based on not qualifying, but the results of the feature race. So the winner will go to the back. The guy in last will go to the front, assuming they're only going to deal with drivers on the lead lap. Cars that are 1 lap down do not get gridded up to the front. They're going to be back of the back. So you want to try to finish on that lead lap. Now, there's an incident cap for this sprint race as well, 13x, and that'll get you DQ'd on this one, so a little shorter. And the points for the sprint race is going to be a reduced points. You're not going to get quite as much for winning the 25-minute race as you are the 40-minute race. But, man, that's going to really make things interesting. Qualifying just about wrapping up, probably about another minute to go. Richard, you and I both spent some time on this track in this car. I had trouble with that left-hander after the boot that sets up those final two corners. Boy, that's a sharp one for me. Where did you have trouble with on this one?
Well, unlike you, Bill, I had no trouble at all with this. No, I lied. My big problem area was, in fact, turn number 1, the 90. Getting some good exit speed off the first turn there was difficult for me. Just watching the drivers right here.
Let's go to the grid right now, because I think qualifying is done. So let's do the top 10, then you get the next one. Jerome Kvyat going to be up there on the pole, surprisingly, inside of the defending champion, Yunis Slavasi, Christian Tkach, and Dan Brewer, 3rd and 4th. Renault Osterkamp and Andy Cowie in 5th and 6th. Gunnar Nienhaus in 7th position. Patrick Kelser in 8th. Evan Emery in 9th. And rounding out the top 10, Ty McLeod. Go ahead, Rich.
And Phil Reed in 11th. Lawrence de Rijk in 12th, Yannick Nienhaus in 13th, Adam Tierney, stop me if they start, Adam Tierney in 14th place, Christoph Holstein in 15th, Frederick Johansson 16th, Robert Plumley in 17th, Knut Martensen 18th place, Odd Jonas Willman in 19th, and 20th place, Luke W.S. White.
We'll try to get in as many as we can here. Stephen Chambers, Christopher Leister, Stephen Cager, Sarah Dove in 24th, Lee Robinson in the 25th spot. We're going to get it done. Dylan Hember in the 26th. 26 drivers on the field. The weather is overcast. The lights are up. The engines start to harmonize. There should be plenty of grip with those overcast skies. Only 7 degrees out there right now. You can hear them all starting to rev up. Gather up the chickens. Take cover behind the cows because the horses are out of the barn. And Jeroen Kvyat is going to lead them down into the first corner. Looking on the outside is the defending championship, Slavasi. Oh, and there's a car that's loose into the wall. It is to catch. No, he doesn't put it in the wall. He saves it, but the entire field has got to go around him. He qualified in 3rd position. He's going to be doing the first lap from the back. There are more cars into the wall. One of them is Hember, also got caught up in an issue.
So we'll get a replay on that. We've got one Phil Reed already in the pits there with some damage to his car. What a start. With all the grip that they had there, somebody just overcooked it into turn number 1. We have another car in the pits there. That is Evan Imre in the pits. Also the damage on the front. So a bit of a nasty start there, Bill.
As we look at the replay now, I'll just update you that Renee Osterkamp also has gone off while we're watching this replay. Look at what's going on as they had cars in the sand, cars all over the place. The big loser there was to catch, and also Osterhaus, who going through the inner loop had trouble, and he's dropped back from 4th position all the way back to 16th. The leaders right now, as we come back to live, you can see all the cars that are in the pits. We'll run that down for you for a minute, but right now we can tell you that your leader right now has a new leader. We've missed the pass. Maybe we can get it on replay. Slavasi was able to get around Kvykel now. So if Kvykel back into second, Slavasi up into first.
That is correct. And in third place at the moment, it's in third place we have Nienhaus in third place, and then Dan Brewer in fourth place, a little ways back there. They're starting, or they're really just finishing lap number 1 at this stage. A 40-minute race, of course, and our leader Joni Silvasti out front there, and second place, as we mentioned, Jeroen Kvykel. He started on pole position, been overtaken, Bill, by our
by Silvasti,
winner. Yeah,
Silvasti, our defending champion. I can update you that he did that going into the inner loop. He did it from the left-hand side, kind of the outside of that first right-hander. In fact, if you go ahead and watch the leaders right now, this is the inner loop right there. He took it on the outside, got around the Kvykel right there, moved up into the lead, and now is beginning to distance himself. Third position is Nienhaus, that Richard talked about. Let's round out the top 10 for you. Brewer, when we have an issue, it looks like Lawrence de Rijk has had a problem. He's got together. De Rijk has got together with Andy Cowie that was going into the inner loop. We'll get it live to you, Richard. See if you can find it and tell you what you see there.
Yeah, well, having a look there at De Rijk at the moment, they're coming down into the chute here now. He's still going, De Rijk.
That was De Rijk who was trying to shoot the gap. He was the peanut butter between the two pieces of bread. Got Ty McLeod involved in it as well, along with Callie. Trying to go 3 wide into the inner loop. That's not going to work. We go back live now.
Now, going back live, I want to go back at this stage of the game. Let's go to position number 24, Sarah Dove. Now, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, Bill, but this is a genuine lady driver. We at the Global Sim Racing Channel are not sexist in any way, shape or form. We love to see the ladies out there in race cars, and it looks like we've got a live one in this race and in this series, so that is really great to see.
Well, if she's not a female, then her parents have some answering to do. Let's go to 10th position right now. So there's a pass for 10th. This is Frederick Johansson getting around Andy Crowley into 10th. Remember, Crowley had that incident. He's dropped back a few positions. This is not done, though. Crowley trying to work his way around as they go through the S's. And Richard, you talked about corner number 1. That's why that corner is so important, because once you get through 1, it is full throttle all the way up these S's. Look at this. This is Knut Martinsen trying to find a way around Callie. No way for him to do it there as they go 1, 2, 3 into the inner loop, and they negotiate that one well. This is a battle for 9th position. Johansson up front, Callie in second, Martinsen in third, and now getting into the mix is Luke White.
Yeah, you're absolutely right there, Bill. Once you come out of the 90, it is flat out all the way. This car has such a lot of grip through the tires and with the downforce that can be applied. I must say, I think a lot of the guys have a very little downforce here, trying to eke out as much speed as they can from the car. I don't know whether that's such a great idea. You want to have some downforce so you have more control. And in some cases, when you've got such a lot of grip in the track anyway with the track temperature, it might actually have been a good idea to put some extra grip in the car to make you, because you've got the grip coming from the track anyway. So let's get back to the racing now. Joni Silvasti, our leader, he's just finishing lap number 4 of this 40-minute race. He's going into the 90 as we speak, and takes a nice wide turn into the 90. That's how you want to do it. And he's heading up the S's now, as we mentioned, flat out, and he's doing something like 220 kilometers per hour. That's about 150 miles an hour, I want to say, Bill.
Now, what's interesting is Kvykel is able to get a little bit of a toe through the S's all the way up, and he's got that gap down to about 7.5 seconds. Kvykel doing a great job of hanging behind Slavasi. Slavasi, of course, won 7 out of 12. He's a defending champion, 7 out of 12 races last round. He's favored to win it again this time, but of course, he has a new format to deal with, and that is this also not only the featured race that we're in right now, the 40-minute, but the 25-minute sprint race where they invert. So
that is correct.
Kvykel doing a good job of hanging in there. Go ahead, Rich.
Yeah, Jeroen Kvykel doing a great job, and due to the shenanigans which took place on lap number 1, we've got fourth place here, Dan Brewer, a little way behind, and even third place a little way off from Kvyat. So there are quite a large gaps here. I thought the racing would be a lot closer than this, but of course, lap number 1 did spoil that a little bit for us. But make no mistake, there's a lot of racing going on further back, isn't there, Bill?
There are, and we have 2 drivers that have looked like they've called it today. That's Phil Reed, who started in 11th, and Evan Emery, who started in 9th position. They're both out. Odd Jonas Wilhelm is back in there. He's running in 24th, 1 lap down. The bad news for him is being 1 lap down, he won't get to grid up to the front. Let's go ahead and talk about the drivers back in about 10th position. We talked about Callie, and now let's look at a battle here for 14th. Andy Callie running in 13th. Here comes Christoph, last but not least, making a move, trying to see if he can run down. He's got a good run, and see if he can get up on Callie. Look at the toe that he gets coming into that first corner. Not going to force the issue, though, yet. Back behind them, Richard, we're right on board with Leister. If we drop back 2 positions, though, Director, I hate to be calling the shots from here. Let's look at this battle between Chambers and Tkach. Remember, Tkach started in 3rd position. He had that early off on the first lap. Well, he's worked his way back up to 14th now. But staying right with him is Stefan Chambers. Nice job from him.
Yeah, he's pushing hard, but he's in a pack there of quite a number of cars there. So behind him, you've got Stephen Chambers, then Tkach himself, of course, and in front of him, he's got Andy Conway and also Christopher Leister, I want to say. So he's got his hands full working his way through there. As you said, he started off in 3rd position. So he's got a lot of work to do to move his way up to the front. Now, I have some sad news in that Sarah Dove is in the pits at the moment with quite a lot of damage to her car. So that might well be the end of her day. Anyway, she'll be having a lot of repairs. Let's go
to Holstein. Hang on for a second. Let's see if we can find Holstein had a spin. I don't know if the director can find this one. He's running position 20 right now. We'll see if we can get it. It might have been a little far back. No, we're not being able to find it. It was a little far back. Sometimes if we miss him. He's dropped back to 20th position right now. Apologies that we can't get that one on the screen. Richard,
well,
the top 10 the top 10 are all stretched out. Let's talk about the battles going on back there about from 10th.
Yeah, so at least around there where Christian Tkach is and Leister in front of him, then you've got a good battle going on in front of that with Knut Martensen and Luke White there in front of him. So starting from Luke White and going back from there, that's 10th back to about 12th, 13th position. A lot of battling going on there.
Here comes Knut right now. I call him Kmart for short, but Knut Martensen making a move on the outside as he gets it done. Again, that outside move into the inner loop, coming around the left side, driver's left, and he gets in there first, so Knut moves his way up into the top 10. Next on his hit list will be Frederick Johansson, but Johansson has about a 1-second gap, so we'll see if Martensen can get there. White drops back into 11th. Drop back a little bit back there. Christopher Leister now. Here comes Christian Tkach again. Tkach still running at 13th, trying to get around Leister as they work their way through the carousel. No, I'm sorry, that's the toe, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the toe. So at this stage here, this is where the action is. It's kind of in the middle of the pack here. Lots of guys behind them. They're doing some battling as well. And of course, we'll get back to the front in a little while. But the action is right here. We are driving on board, or I'm driving on board with Christian Tkach. And he is having a good look at the driver in front of him, which is indeed Christopher Leister. So let's see what happens there. Can he make his move as they get onto the front stretch? They're just about to complete lap number 6 here. They go through the last corner there, and now they're on the front stretch. Can he make use of the little draft there and catch up to the driver in front? He's closing at this point in time. They break for the 90. They go through. They make sure they're off that very large raised curbing on the right there, Bill. That can throw the car off completely.
Absolutely. Looking through here to see about pit stops. It looks like my timing and scoring is saying that Lauren de Rijk has
here we go. Here
well.
comes the sorry to break in. Here comes the Tkach. He's gonna make the move on Stephen Chambers. Was it Chambers? Yes. They side by side. Whistle come. Wisserkamp, and the Cax makes it through the loop. That was touch and go there. They were going side by side there, and looks as if the Cax or Chambers, in fact, it was, and Wisserkamp that I was looking at. Sorry, guys. But that was a really, really good attack there from Stephen Chambers on Wisserkamp to get it down into the inner loop.
We're going to look at it one more time. Richard, you were watching it. Here it comes on screen. We'll watch this replay one more time. We'll look at Wisserkamp. On board with Wisserkamp.
Yeah.
And just to follow up on a pit stop, Lawrence de Rijk has made a stop as we look at this pass.
Yep, they virtually side by side going up there. Stephen Chambers does get the better of him just going into the loop. That took courage, let me tell you.
Just to follow up on Lawrence de Rijk, remember he's made a stop, but I think that was probably because of that issue that he had when he tried to make a three-way into the inner loop. I don't think we've seen any scheduled pit stops yet. 27 minutes still to go. The leaders are still spread out. Let's go ahead and run down your top 10 because we haven't seen much of them for a while. Your leader, Eunice Silvastis, last season's champion, running 1.2 seconds ahead of Jeroen Kvyat. Third position, running all by himself, is Gunnar Nienhuis. Fourth position, Dan Brewer. These guys, nobody within a second of each other. Patrick Kelser in fifth position. Then we go way back to Ty McLeod running in sixth. Adam Tierney all by himself in seventh position. Again, these top tens are all spread out about a second to a second and a half, 2 seconds apart. Yannick Nienhuis, the brother of Gunnar, in eighth position. Then we get back to ninth, and this is where it starts to pick up a bit. Fredrik Johansson, remember we talked about him, that he was going to be next on the hit list of Knut Martinsson. Well, Martinsson is beginning to run him down now, as it's only about a half second. So this is where it's exciting from ninth back. Johansson, Martinsson, to catch is in the mix as well. And then Luke White has fallen back to 12th position. To catch making his way up after that early mistake.
Yep, that is correct. And we're driving on board now with to catch. And let's see what he can do as he closes up onto, that's just coming out there through the toe, I want to say, and Martinsson ahead of him. So to catch and Martinsson as they come around to
it's the two
take that left-hander. This is where you had the trouble, Bill, as you were saying. This is a very, very tight turn. You can go through there very fast. This right-hander here, where they are right now, that's very difficult as well. The Cat's getting close to the wall there. Actually lost a little bit of time on his opponent, but now he closes up once again. Let's see if he can get it done going up through the S's. Not close enough at this stage, Bill. Meanwhile, the guy in front of him, which is Knut Martinsson, he's having a look at the driver in front of him, and in fact, he's closing fast. He goes to the outside there. That is Fredrik Johansson. He's on the outside. He's got the run going into the inner loop and gets the job done. Moves up one place.
Look at the run that Christian Tkach got from out of there, because Johansson had no line through that inner loop. And again, the passing position, the preferred spot into that inner loop is on the left-hand side, the wide side coming in. And they get that done. So now Johansson drops back to 10th. Here comes Christian Tkach. Remember, he had that issue on the first lap where he put it in the sand. He's trying to make it up. He's trying to get into the top 10. Luke White has fallen back. He was running up there, I believe, in 9th or 10th, has dropped back to 12th. This is a great battle back here for 4th. Again, four battle here for 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Nothing going on up in front. 1 through 10, all separated. Here comes the pass.
The Tkach's trying on the left there. As they come through the toe, can't get it done there. A good defense from Johansson. And he'll have to wait again as they now come through the left-hander, and they'll be going through that very fast left-hander. I'm going to call that Bill's corner. There is a name for it. I forget what the name is now. But no joy for Tkach at this stage now.
I like the run, though,
go
here.
Down the front stretch.
I like this. He's got a good run. He's going to get a good drive-through one. We'll stay on this for a little while longer. Probably not going to get him into one, but watch the run as he can keep. If he gets a good exit through one, he does. He has good momentum.
Yep.
He's going to see if he can run down Johansson now. He's got the power. It's full throttle all the way through these S's. He's in the toe. He's going to try to make the move on the left-hand side. No, he's going to dump on the inside. Gives a little dipsy-do, a little hokey-doke. He puts his right foot in, he puts his right foot out, and he gives them the hucklebuck.
Shakes it all about.
That's it. He does the hokey pokey and he turns himself without turning himself around. He gets 10th position and now has a great run on Martinson.
Yeah, not so easy to pass at this stage. You're through the carousel, down into the chute, and then you'll head off to the boot of the of this track. Now he's got to run here. He's got to run here. Now, coming out of this right-hander, Bill, there is an opportunity. If you can get really close to your opponent, you can run him down heading towards the toe. Has he got enough pace to do that? I don't think he's close enough to actually run him down before they hit the right-hander here.
Actually,
so he'll have to wait.
Through the toe, now up into the heel. Actually, I have all the parts. Next time around, we'll take you through. I also have the laces on the sole and the tongue. If you want to go, I'll give you all of them. And we're going to leave this for a second because look at what has happened up here. It's now down to under a second. As we look at the lead, Silvassi only with a second as the vehicle is starting to make a move. Jeroen doing a good job of hanging behind these guys. Remember, they qualified 1-2. Keep in mind that the vehicle actually was a faster qualifying time by 2/100ths of a second, so he's hanging with them. There is a pit stop to go yet, though, Richard.
Correct, sir. Absolutely. Now, let's get back to Tekax. Tekax now looking at Martinson, and he's got a run on Martinson as well. Will he go to the inside? It looks as if that's exactly what he's going to do. Goes to the inside. Can he do a repetition of what he did the previous lap? I think he can. Let's have a look at what Martinson offers as a defense.
Yep.
Doesn't offer any defense at all, and there
drop
goes
back
into
to
9th place.
And White also makes a move in the very back. White negotiates his way around. Last but not Leaster running in 13th position right now. Luke White holding on to 12th. Leaster still trying to look around. Great battling going back here in 10th, 11th, and 12th. But what has happened is Christian Tkac has made his way up into 9th, qualified 3rd, trying to get back some of those positions.
Yes, and let's have a look now. We have completed about 20 minutes of this race, and we still have 21 minutes left, so they've completed less than 20 minutes of this race. So they're at the halfway mark. One would think that they might be thinking about pit stops now. I have to say, Bill, it shows our little inexperience with this car, but we don't know how long the tires last. At least I don't know how long the tires last. I'm going to have to do some testing during the season to find out all those little details. But so I'm not sure when they will decide to come in on the pits. We know that the fuel is set to 40%, so they've got 20 liters of fuel, but even that should take them a long way into this race, Bill.
I'm going to take this second to run down some of the cars that are in the back that are on the lead lap before the pit cycle opens up. Let's go to Stephen Chambers right now, running in 13th position. He just picked up a spot because one driver's come in. That was Luke White. Let's drop back to Steve Kagerer. He's also making his pit stop right now, running in 15th position, as I believe the window's starting to open up. Renee Osterkamp, we saw him have some issues early, running in 16th position. Go back to 17th right now, actually 16th overall. That's Robert Sugar Plumley, running in right now 15th, yet to make his stop. And then the last car's on the lead lap. We saw Andy Calley have some problems. And we have a spin. We're going to see if Williamson has an issue.
Spin coming into the 90 there. It looks like turn number 1. Lots of smoke there. As we get that on the replay, let's have a look.
We go back live now, so we're looking at a lead battle.
Yes, the lead is Jeroen Kweekel has cut that gap down to less than a second. So his setup is starting to work great for him at this stage as he runs down our leader, Juni Silvasti. Silvasti still leading and still has that gap, of course, but it's now down at the line. It was 0.670 of a second, Bill, so he's definitely cutting back that lead.
close enough where he might be able to get it done in the pits as well. Remember, he's in the tow. Maybe he's saving a little fuel. They all start with the same amount of fuel, but that doesn't mean they're burning the same amount of fuel. Back there, vehicle running in second. His vehicle will use up less fuel. Pardon my pun. Just to follow up on a few things that are going on. Luke White, Sugar Plumley, and Renee Osterkamp have all made their scheduled pit stops.
And for those of you who don't know Bill Soupzon, he is the funny man, that is for sure. And we love him to death. And here we are in the, what's it called? The Apex Online Racing League. And we are having ourselves a lot of fun here, Bill. Back to the racing. Jeroen Kvirkel. He is making every corner a winner now. That gap is down to, let's have a look, it's down to 0.8 still, so it looks as if there's been a response here from Uni Silvasti, and he's not just giving up. He's certainly pushing hard to stay in front, but that gap is coming down steadily. Bill, This is going to be exciting in a lap or two, I'm thinking.
I think they're going to wait till after the stop. I'd be surprised. I think he's going to run back there and see what he has after the pit stop. See if he can come out in front, maybe burning less fuel. Quickly go to 8th position right now because Christian Tkach, he's got around. Remember Yannick Nienhaus, I said he was the next guy. Well, he's got him. So Tkach up to 8th. What a great run from him. Remember, he had dropped so far back, making them all up, getting those points, getting those valuable points to start off your season. And remember, there's one more race after this one, so they're going to regroup everything. You want to be the car on the lead lap. You want to stay in right now. That's Stephen Cager. Let's go to the lead as we're looking at a pass. Oh, my goodness. He is right there, Richard. I think you're right. He may want to get this done before the pit stops.
Oh, look, the racer in us doesn't care about pit stops and waiting and strategy. At this stage, you see your opponent in front of you. You see that you're catching him. You want to get past him. As they go down into the chute, now they'll head down towards the toe. And they have this right-hander here, which is one of my favorite corners on this track, Bill. And it's got a little bit of banking there, and it's so nice when you get it right. And still that half a second gap there is not quite there yet. We'll see when he gets some draft, because he's got the full effect of the draft now. And when they go up into the back straight on the next lap, that's when we'll see it take full effect. As he closes up on the left-hander here now, then they come to the next left-hander, which is the fast left-hander. I love this corner as well. Now they'll come into the final quarter of this lap. Lap number 14 is very close, Bill. This is where you'll be able to pick up the draft as they go towards the 90. Let's see what happens. As we see that Silvasti going, weaving just a fraction there to try and throw off the draft. Now he doesn't get such a great exit from the 90, so we still have that half a second gap. Silvasti responding brilliantly to the challenge.
Let's stay on this for another lap as they work their way around. Silvasti, the defending champion, won 7 out of 12 last time. Look at the run that the vehicle is getting. Silvasti protecting the right-hand side. He's going to make Jeroen go on the high side, and he's not going to be able to get it done as they go through the inner loop. They're going to hold position. Now, they're back on the throttle. They go around this long right-hander, the carousel. Silvasti trying to get as much grip as they can. Now they accelerate down to the left-hander, which I call the tongue. It's where you start to get into the part of the boot. You go through the tongue, then across this section, which I call the laces. Then you get down to the long drive through the laces. You go down into the toe of the boot, around the toe, down to this section, which I call the sole. As they go the under part of the boot, still not going to happen. Silvasti holding off the vehicle. They come through the toe. They make the right-hander up the heel. Again, you can go a little bit wide here to get a run, and you go down to the backside through the Achilles, and then you're out of the boot. Now you come into this left-hander that I had a horrible time with. Look at the run that vehicle gets. And they're going to go through this last left-hander, and this will set up the main straight again if they decide to say that. Vehicle is right behind Silvasti. I think he could have it right now. It all depends on what kind of drive he gets off of the final corner. Oh, a little bit of a run from Silvasti. They stay out, Richard.
Yeah, you know what? If I was Silvasti, I would have come into the pits and done my pit stop. It has the advantage of shaking off Kvirkel. Remembering, of course, Kvirkel did start on pole position. So Silvasti, even though he's the defending champion here, he knows that on this particular track, on this particular day, in this particular race, Kvirkel was faster than him. As Kvirkel now goes to the outside, just goes right past. The draft is going to help him. Let's see, where is Silvasti? Silvasti is going to have to give that up, Bill, and does. And a great racing from both these guys.
Again, the preferred pass is on the left-hand side. We'll keep that in mind when we get down to the closing laps, and we'll see if the driver protects that kind of outside line. Unusual. I wouldn't think that was the case. Now, what's coming up here is Steve Cager, the Canadian driver, running in 19th position. He's about to be overtaken by these guys. Let's see if Cager has come in for his pit stop yet. He has not. Oh, I apologize. Cager has. Cager has made his pit stop, so he can stay out there. He doesn't need to worry. These guys will get out of his way here in a minute. Let's see if these guys are going to stay out behind or if they're going to decide to come in before they get to the lapped car.
Well, there's virtually no gap between these two now. What does Uni Silvasti do? If I were Uni Silvasti, this is the time to pit. But I'm not, so we'll have a look and see what he does. We're on lap number 16. There's 12 minutes left, Bill, in the race, closer to 13 at this stage. So we did say they can go quite long as they head into the pits. Now, both of them, first and second place, into the pits. So now we know, 12 minutes or so, and they are hitting the pits. The pit limiter is on. You can see the light flashing on the rear of the car there. That means they've got the pit speed limiter on.
Let's look at Gunnar Nienhaus right now because he has made his pit stop. He's working through this final left-hander, about ready to come down the main straightaway. Let's see if these leaders can get out before him. They're still sitting in there. Nienhaus has already made his pit stop. Now the leaders start to roll. Who's out first? They're out next to each other. Out first is Kvirkel. He came in first. He's coming out first. Silvasti right behind him. They got about a 5-second lead on Christian Tkach, who has yet to make his stop.
Yeah,
watch the leaders. Here he goes, Silvasti, going to try to look to the outside again. He gets a good run through the S's. Boy, Kvirkel squeezing him as far as he can to the high side. They are side by side, but again, the Silvasti in that preferred position. They almost interlock tires. They go Cialis bathtubs through the inner loop. They keep it side by side. Now they're going through the carousel. It's Silvasti on the outside. He might have more momentum. It's Kvirkel on the inside. Kvirkel comes across the nose of Silvasti as they come back down to start the boot.
Yes, indeed. They're down in the chute now. Silvasti, this is a tactical race now, and Kvirkel is defensive at this point in time. They go to the right-hander. They head down the short straight now. Once again, there's an opportunity, and you can see Kvirkel going defensive. They side by side. They come to the heel right now, side by side, going through the heel. Now they head to the left-hander. This is a tough corner to go side by side through.
Yeah, they got to get sorted out here.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, that's just too sharp of a corner to be going side by side right there. Silvasti out in front again, your defending champion, but I don't think that's going to mean much as these guys are equally matched right now.
And the draft, of course, is the great equalizer. And the two areas that we can see where the draft does play an important role. First, of course, is going out from turn number 1 up through the S's there. The draft is fierce there, and they head into the inner loop. Now, Bill, actually, Silvasti's got a little gap here, and this is a nice little gap to have at this stage of the race.
He may have been saving something in his pocket. Maybe he wasn't showing all of his cards. Maybe he has something left. For the guy who's been stalking, I can update you that Christian Tkach is the last car to finally come in to make that stop. He was running in third. He's going to fall back a little bit. Gunnar Nienhaus going to move up to third position. Dan Brewer in fourth.
Yeah, Tkach out of the pits already.
In sixth position behind Kessler.
Yeah, and they don't spend a lot of time in the pits, let me tell you. It's about 2 seconds,
but
2 or 3 seconds.
I know we've been watching the battle, but look what Christian has done. That's somebody to keep an eye on when we go to this sprint race that's coming up later. He's worked his way up to sixth position. He's gone through the entire field. What a great run from him.
Yeah. Remembering, of course, he did start in third place on the start.
Yep.
And had an unfortunate first lap there. In fact, an unfortunate first corner. But since then, he has really worked his way back, and when we caught up with him, he was in 11th place. Now, after the pit stops, in 6th place. But let's go back to the front. How's our battle going on there for P1?
Slovasi still out there being stalked by Kvyat. I think Kvyat is happy to sit back there in second position. I think he knows where he wants to make the move. He'll just want to time and figure out when the last lap is. I would not be surprised if he gets a good run off of that final corner, gets a good drive down this main straightaway, just like this. Then he looks for a good run out of one. If he can be anywhere close here, then he gets in the toe. And then it's a matter of, well, not the toe of the boot, but I'm talking the toe of the draft. And then Slovasti has to decide how he wants to defend. Let's watch this, Richard. Let's see if Slovasti moves to the left.
He's got the run. He goes to the outside. Defensive run there from Uni, but he's gonna be right past. Let's see where they. Yep, he's got it. He's got it. Definitely good move. Now this might happen, between these two guys, lap on lap, one taking advantage. But at this stage, it is Kvyat in the lead. He's in P1. You'd rather be in P1, Bill, than P2 as the laps run out. 7 minutes, less than 8 minutes to go in this race now. At the rate that these guys are going, you've got about 5 or 6 laps to go in this race.
I'm really surprised that Uni Silvasti, they call him the Unit for short, that's his nickname. I'm surprised that he didn't protect the left-hand side as they go into that inner loop. We're going to watch that in this. We'll stay with these guys for one more lap. We'll see if that Silvasti decides to make the move now. He has plenty of time. He may wait to the last lap to make that move. As we ride on board with the Unit.
The Unit. I like that. Okay, here we go. This is the last corner. They're going to be finishing off the lap. It's Kvyat ahead. He's on the extreme left-hand side of the track. So Vasti falling in behind him now, trying to get the best exit from the 90. He's got a great exit there, but also Kvyat got a great exit. Now they got the run up here. He's got a run. He will catch him, Bill. Let's see what happens here as they go towards the inner loop on lap number 20.
And he gives them the left-hand side again. And that's going to be the pass. I would want to make him do it on the right side. Make him do it on what you would think would be the preferred position. But the pass is done, Richard. And the Unit out in front. Uni Silvasti out in front, your defending champion. I don't think that's the last time we're going to see that.
Okay, let's count it down now. 6 minutes left. They are doing 1 minute 42, so 6 minutes means 3 laps plus another lap for the odd bits of time. So we've got at least 4 laps to go. So at this stage,
let's run down the top 10. We've been talking about the two up front. We know that it's Kvyat and Slovasi, not quite in that order, but right now. Then Nienhuis running in third. That would be Gunnar. Dan Brewer running in fourth. 1 lap down is Christopher Holste. He's not going to be able to get that regrid. 5th position, Patrick Kessler. Christian Tkach, remember we saw him. He's made us all the way up to 6th. I think that's where he's going to finally level out. Adam Tierney in 7th position. Knut Martinsen. Sorry, got that one totally wrong. Where that one came from. Martinsen Kmar running in 8th position. Then the brother of Gunnar, that's Yannick Nienhuis running in 9th, and then rounding out your top 10. And it doesn't stop. The excitement is still back there. Right now it's Johansson, but he's in a battle with White and Leister.
Yeah, there's a 3-car battle here. We've got Christopher Leister here. Then in front of Christopher, there's White and Johansson in front of him.
Stay on that one, Rich. I'll watch the front. You stay on that for a little bit. Nothing going on up front right now. Let's watch these guys.
Okay, so here we go. They're coming through the left-hander, the very fast left-hander. Then they go down towards the other left-hander. Bill's problem corner, and now they'll come to finish up on lap number 20. They're not quite close enough for an overtaking maneuver. I'm looking here at White at the moment. Behind White, we've got Leister and Plumley out of it at this stage. So at this point, we'll go back to the front and see how they're doing, because there's no battle right here at the moment.
4.5 minutes to go. We'll start to do the math. The lap around here is about 140. We'll see how many laps here they go. Still out in front, it is the Unit. Uni Silvasti being challenged by Jeroen Kvyat. They run 1-2. I think it's just a matter of waiting now. It's a game of chess at 180 miles an hour with all the pieces moving.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and...
Let's go back. We saw here Luke White has had a problem. Remember, that was that battle for 10th position, and it was going into the inner loop again.
And he's just been overtaken by another driver going down into the chute. He's being overtaken by a few drivers. So White
took it into the inner loop. He got tagged a little bit by Frederick Johansson. Might have got a little bit of damage. Also, last but not least, Christoph got picked up. He's going to lose a position to Robert Sugar Plumley. We're going to watch Johansson here on this replay. We still have time. The battle for the lead is just about the same. Look at this as Johansson just gets through there.
Yeah, this
Plumley
is going
also
into the
picks
inner
up a
loop.
position.
And we go back live now. Here we go. Jeroen. Oh boy! You're coming out of the inner loop, Bill. That was very, very tough times there. There was almost contact. We saw Jeroen Kvirkel having to take evasive action to not hit Juni Silvasti. He did it successfully. There was no contact at all. And Silvasti breathes again. But now the laps are definitely running down. I am going to say with 2 minutes 40 to go, we've got this lap, the next lap, and possibly a third lap after this as well. But it's getting down to the wire. The battle for first place is between these two. Juni Silvasti, the unit, as Bill calls him, and Jeroen Kvirkel. We're going to have to find a nickname for Kvirkel. There are a few who spring to mind, but we'll work on that, Bill.
With the apologies to the other drivers back running third to the end, we're going to focus mainly our attention here on these last 2 minutes on the leaders. There are 18 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah.
Here comes a pass for the lead. There are going to be 2 to go. And look at this. Silvasti, he backed out. He had the run. He could have got that done going into 1. And the unit said, not this time. They go wide through 1. Now, this is where I think that's what is the problem going into this inner loop now, is these guys are catching on. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this vehicle stays to the left and is going to surrender the inside, and he does. That's what I thought would happen. They go side by side, but Kvirkel's happy to be out there on the wider entrance coming in. If he can just hold that position, look how he protected the left-hand side, but it doesn't matter as the unit gets it done before the inner loop.
No.
This is not the last lap. Oh, my
Bill,
goodness.
Tactics coming into play here. Kvirkel, in my opinion, deliberately did not defend.
You think so?
There. He wants to be second going up for the final
I think you
lap.
might be right.
He wants to be in second place. The battle will be going into the inner loop on the next lap, which will be the final lap of this race. 23 laps gone. We will get the white flag on this on the finish of this lap, Bill.
Richard, you and I are on the same page. I believe it's going to be in second, make the move into the inner loop, and then defend the back half of the course. Let's see how it plays out. They work their way through the final left-hander, then they'll get some momentum down the main straight as they go through this right-hand, but I don't think anything's going to happen here. Kvirkel wants to get a good run out of the final corner.
Oh, look at Silvasti. That was
a great run.
Exit. Great exit. Now he's got a good lead, and I want to say Kvirkel had better move very, very quickly, and a great run from Silvasti.
That could have been good night nurse there, right there on that final right-hander that sets up down the main straight, because Kvirkel has too far to make up. He's in the toe. He's coming. The gap is 6.9. Boy, but it's not shrinking right now. So he's got to hope to get a good run through the inner loop, and then try to find a place somewhere on the back half of the course, but it's a lot harder to get it done there. They work the right, they work the left, they work the left, they work the right, like boxers. 1-2, 1-2, and a spin from Kvirkel. He's giving it up. He's got 7 seconds to get going before Gunner gets there. We're going to get the replay right now as we're going to see Jeroen get loose. Is he going to get out in front? He's going to, as we go to the replay, he's going to lose that position to Nienhuis. Look at this right there.
Sorry, Bill, I'm trampling all over you.
We come back live, and Nienhouse has taken over second position. Vehicle has dropped down to third. Meanwhile, it's an easy cakewalk now for the unit. Uni Silvasti rounding through the heel of the boot, working up this final two left-handers before he brings it home to pick up the first win of the season, if he can get there. Out in front of him is Stephen Cagerer. Cagerer running in 17th. He's got a little bit of lead. Why do I care? Because that means a pole position when we get to the sprint race. It looks like Cagerer is going to be able to bring it home. The last car on the lead lap. Slavasi coming around the final corner. Round number 1 of the Apex Online Racing League in the Formula Renault 2.0 goes to Uni Silvasti. Second position. We'll drop back to this. It's going to be Jeroen. We're going to get a replay of this one because I think, no, Nienhouse was able to hold on for third. Nienhouse holds on for third. Vehicle gets fourth. Woo!
Nienhouse
gets third.
held on for second. For second there, Bill.
Yeah, Nienhouse for second. Vehicle for third. Sorry there. Brewer for fourth, and fifth position goes to Patrick Kelsler. We'll see if we can pick up any battles that are still coming across the lead lap here. Let's go to 10 right now. This is Osterkamp ahead of last but not least. Well, he's a long way from being last right now as he's running in 11th position, trying to get around Rene Osterkamp. Osterkamp has this left-hander to do.
And Leister behind him.
Yeah, Leister's going to need a great run out of this final corner to get this done before the start-finish line. I don't think he's going to get there. Give 10th position to Osterkamp, 11th position to Leister. Follow right behind them. Yeah, Johansson and Chambers making a run, but he's not going to get there. Chambers is going to get 13th. Let's go ahead and bring home all the cars still on the lead lap. 14th position. It looks like it's going to go to Luke White after he had his spin. Cowie also had some trouble, going to come home in 15th position. You're going to see these guys up near the front when we come back in about 20 minutes for our sprint race. Lauren de Rijk, he's going to be a guy to contend with us. He's going to finish in 16th position, and we talked about it before. Stephen Cagerer, the Canadian driver, working through the left-hander. Then he has the right-hander onto the main straight. He's going to finish 17th. You wouldn't think the 17th matters, but that's going to put him on the pole when we come back for the sprint race in a short amount of time. There's your top 17. Woo! What a great opening, Richard, here from Apex Online Racing, their first event here race for the Global Sim Racing Channel.
Absolutely fantastic racing. Unfortunate for Jeroen Kvirkel there. He pushed too hard on that last lap after that great run coming out of the last corner to set up the last lap for Uni Silvasti. Great run from Uni Silvasti. They're great racing from both those guys a few laps before the end. So we are going to, as Bill said, take the break, and we're not going to
go quite to break yet. We're going to change up things here a little bit this time, Richard, because we're going to see if we can run down the order, and then if any drivers would like to come in and do an interview, we'd like to do the interview now before we go to break, because we have a long break between that next section.
Okay.
So I'm going to run down the top 10. You can take the next 10, and if you're listening out there on YouTube and you're one of the drivers, come on in and talk to us. We'd love to hear, no matter where you finished. Uni Silvasti, the defending champion, starts off the season where he left off last season with the win. Gunnar Nienhouse was able to get around Jeroen Kvirkel at the very end there. Nienhouse gets second, Kvirkel gets third, Dan Brewer in fourth, Patrick Kelsler rounds out your top 5. Christian Tkach, what a great run from him. Had that early problem. We noted it in the race. He able to get all the way back up to 6. Adam Tierney in 7th spot. Knut Martinson, Kmart in 8th position. Robert Sugar Plumley in 9th. Rene Osterkamp rounding out your top 10. Richard?
And in 11th place was Christopher Leister. Then in 12th position, we had Frederick Johansson. Stephen Chambers finished in 13th place. Luke White, who had a spin in the towards the end of the race there, he finished in 14th place. Andy Cowie, let me get that right. Andy Cowie finished in 15th place. Lawrence de Rijk in 16th place. Last car on the lead lap will be our pole position for the next race is Steve Cagerer. And then we go down to the drivers who were laps down. So Christopher Holstein finished in 18th place, 1 lap down. Odds Jonas Vilman finished in 19th place, 2 laps down. And Yannick Nienhouse finished in 20th place, 3 laps down. Back to you, Bill.
Hitting blackjack with Ty McLeod. The double deuce position goes to Dylan Hempler. Lee Robinson going to finish in 23rd. Double deuce position goes to our only female out there, Sarah Dove, who winged it into 24th. Phil Reed, 25th position. And then the last car, 26, goes to Evan Emre. Give it a few seconds here. We have no interviews. So what we're going to do is take it's going to be a considerable break here. Yeah, we're going to take a break. We might come back in and check in with you. What's going to happen is that the series organizers are going to reorganize everything, regrid. They are going to invert the grid of the top 17 drivers who finished on the lead lap. So when we come back, if you're a Steve Cager fan, get ready to see him on the pole. Outside of him, it's going to be my favorite to win. That's going to be Lawrence DeWright, going to start from outside of row 1 when we come back. This is the Global Sim Racing Channel. We'll be back in a few. Don't go far. Make yourself a little snack. Welcome back to the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the Apex Online Racing League. This is Formula Renault 2.0. We're going to do a few interviews here while we wait for the next event to start up. We're going to turn it over to Richard, and he's going to talk to Luke Wright.
And let's bring Luke into the booth right now. We'll pull him in. Luke, do you have a copy?
I do. How you doing?
I am well. More to the point, how are you, Luke? Congratulations on your 14th place. I think you were up higher, if memory serves me correctly, but you had a problem late in the race. Tell us about that.
I can't remember too much because it's so intense and I'm absolutely dripping with sweat. As you probably don't know, I'm one of the lesser quality drivers, but I managed to find myself up battling for 10th. I managed to take Christoph Leister going into the bus stop, and the next lap it was a move to take 10th from Frederick Johansson. And I got the move, but I clipped the curb a bit too hard and span round, and unfortunately he hit me. So if he's listening, I'm very sorry.
Well, I'm going to take a wild guess there, Luke, and say that you're from the UK.
I am, yeah.
And okay, so you were battling there for 10th place, and is that where you kind of put yourself a top 10 finisher, perhaps?
That's what I'm aiming for. I'm not one lap pace, definitely not. The rest of the guys here are really, really good. I'm sort of like 15th to 20th, always in quali, but race pace, I tend to get into a good rhythm, and I've had a couple of top 10 finishes, but it's definitely what I'm going for this season a bit more.
Okay, so just tell us about the format here. So we've got 2 races. So we've just finished the 40-minute race. Now the whole grid gets inverted. So Luke White is going to be in like 5th place starting the next race. How do you feel about that?
That is going to be interesting. There's a couple of very quick guys that were damaged that are up there. I think Andy Cowie's going to be very close to me as well. I think he's the grid spot ahead. If he gets clear, I think he'll win, but there's certainly an opportunity for a top 10 if the really super quick guys get held up a bit. So yeah, it's really interesting. It's going to be like last week we done a test run and I won the race because a couple of the leaders crashed out. It was only a test run, but it shows that anything can happen in the sprint races. It's going to be, really, really interesting.
Okay. That is fantastic. All right, Luke, we'll let you go. Thanks for talking to us. Do appreciate that. And good luck with the next race. Back to you, Bill.
Okay, we're going to bring in our 3rd place finisher, and we're going to make this quick because it looks like the new session is up. And we have the correct pronunciation on his last name, and I can't help it. This nickname is going to come too easy for me. So let's talk to our 3rd place driver, Jeroen Earthquakle is who this we have here. As we got the pronunciation. Man, Jeroen, you were in a great battle going on with Silvasti. You just had that little spin at the end.
Yeah, correct.
Were you planning? Did you want to be at in the 2nd position spot? Richard and I both thought maybe that you surrendered that, and we're happy to be where you were on those final laps.
No, not really. I mean, I wanted to show that I'm not afraid, that I really want to try, and that I'm here to win if possible.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be realistic too, and I'm very new to this car, new to this series, new to iRacing, so everything that I could grab was an advantage in my opinion. Was nice, but you have to be realistic at times too, and it's very hard to beat that guy who finished it first. I'm not even gonna bother pronouncing the name, but.
Well, that guy was the defending champion. That's why you had it. Yeah, the Silvasti, the session is launching, so we'll let you go real quick. But one last question. Going into the inner loop, did you have a preferred spot to make the pass or to defend? It looked like the left side of the track, the wide side going in, is how you'd like to do it. What's your thoughts about defending that inner loop position?
Well, I mean, I don't really have a philosophy about it. I just do what seems the best at the time, and if it's wrong, okay. If it's nice, then, or if it works, then it's fine too. Just always try to do the best I can, but I don't have any kind of philosophy. I go with the flow and see how it pans out.
Well, as far as we're going to say thank you, and I'd like to welcome you over to the Force, away from the dark side, that other platform. Good to have you over here racing and iRacing. Go ahead, get logged in and get some practice laps in, okay?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, sir, and have fun with the next race, please.
Okay. 3rd place finisher. All right, what we're going to do is take another short break here, and then we will come back as that session's just beginning to launch. Everybody's starting to turn up. We'll be back in just a few, so another short break. Make a top off your drink there, put some ice in it, keep it cold for this 25-minute sprint that's coming up. Back in just a second. Welcome back to the Global Sim Racing channel's coverage of the Apex Online Racing Formula Renault League. We're going to go now to the second heat. They're calling it the sprint race. We just had our featured event where we saw the unit, Eunice Silvasti, take the win. Before we go to this, let's go ahead and bring up a graphic and talk a little bit about where this season was last year's. We're going to show you last season's winners. You can see there the unit, Eunice Silvasti, ran away with the championship as the former series manager. My guess is Eunice's dominance weighed heavily in the new season format here as they've gone to this double header format. As a current commentator assigned to the broadcasting team, I support this idea. This is going to be exciting. As a former series manager, I also support this idea. You can see Silvasti up there. Phil Reed was second. Christian Koch was third. Renee Osterkamp finished fourth. And then there is Carrie Nolden, who's not racing with us this season. So, Richard, are you still with us? Is Richard struggling again? Are you with?
I am here, Bill, but I'm having a few technical issues at this point in time.
I'll go ahead and fill while this is going on here. We can see the drivers coming out. Remember, we're going to have an inverted start, so the drivers who was in third, I believe it was 17th, is going to get to go up front. Now, I've been in that position before, and it's kind of a mixed bag. You're sure excited to be starting up front, but when you're a card-carrying member of Back Markers United, and all of a sudden you find yourself on the pole, it can be a little intimidating. We'll see how these guys are able to play this out. Now, the weather is going to be exactly the same weather that they had earlier today. And remember, that weather is the same weather that they had in the Thursday practice. It is very overcast. There is a lot of grip out there, and I think we saw that. Some drivers to keep an eye on. Remember, watch out for to catch. He had that great run. He's going to be starting ahead of the leaders. You're going to see your leaders back there starting in 16th and 17th position, assuming that all the 17 lead lap cars come back and sign up for this round. We're going 25 minutes, no pit stops this time. So to get this done, you want to get it done early. Hopefully those leaders will take their time and be patient. We'll have double duty. We'll try to follow the front runners up in front, and then we'll keep an eye on the big names as they work their way through the field. Some of the drivers that had trouble, that were fast qualifiers, will not be starting in the back because they had that poor result. Qualifying times coming in right now. The unit has the fastest time, put in a 42.2. Andy Derry Cowie running a 142.9 second as the practice session is over, and they are now beginning to get the grid. So let's go ahead and call the starting lineup for you here. It is Steve Cager, the Canadian driver. We expected him to be on pole, and sure enough, yes. Lawrence de Rijk, that's the guy to watch out for outside of row 2. Andy Derry Cowie running in third position outside of him. Luke White, Stephen Chambers, and Frederick Johansson make up the third row. Christopher Leister in 7th. Renee Osterkamp in 8th. Robert Sugar Plumley in 9th, rounding out the top 10. Knut Martinson, 11th position. Adam Tierney, Christian Tkach in 12th. 13th and 14th go to Patrick Kelser and Dan Brewer. Jeroen Earthquakel in 15th positions. We have the official pronunciation of his last name, Quakel. Gunnar Nienhaus in 16th position, and of course your winner, Eunice Silvasti in 17th. Then you have all the cars one lap down behind that. The engines start to rev. Steve Cager up in front. Keep an eye on him in that number 2 machine. The white, blue, and orange colored car. He gets a good jump. Running in second position, it looks like it'd be de Rijk. De Rijk is going to take second. Backing out of third spot. That was going to be Derry Cowie. Cowie in trouble. De Rijk is at the wall. Dwight has a heart in the wall. My goodness, I'm not sure if anybody else is collected in that one. That's going to be the end of his day. We're going to go to the replay right away. I think everybody was able to avoid. Oh, no, it caught more people. Other drivers involved. One of them was Robert Plumley involved in it. So was Phil Reed. Lee Robinson involved in this one. Took out lots of drivers to see that they come across. We're going to watch it from above. Let's see where it started. Oh, it started with the guy. It was DeReich who came across, then bounced out in front of the track, took out 8 or 9, 10 cars out of the field. I believe all of our leaders, though, all of the leaders from the last race were able to get through. And sure enough, yeah, Nienhuis still out there. Any other big names involved in that one? I think we're okay. Yeah, we're back live now. Let's run down the top 5 and then go ahead and look for our leaders. Up in front, my goodness, is still Stephen Cager. He is being challenged right now by Andy Derry Cowie on the outside as they work their way around. Cowie has his left front tire in there. He's taking a peek in as they work through this left-hander now. They're going to try to be completing lap number 1. Cowie has the preferred position through this final corner, and I think Cowie's going to be credited with the lead for lap number 1 as he makes the pass done. There's another accident behind him. This time it involves Kessler is involved. Also involved is Gunnar Nienhuis, your second place driver from the first race. Nienhuis is in trouble on the final corners. He got involved with Kessler. The replay is coming. Look at that. That's Kessler, I think, off track. Then he comes back on track right in front of Nienhuis. Takes them out. I'm not sure if he was in control. Let's see if Kessler had control or if he was still struggling to catch it. Was it an unsafe re-entry or was it just a part of a long, long spin? We'll take our time and we'll watch this. That's Kessler out in the grass. Boy, you can see he's still struggling. Yeah, maybe, you know what, he brought it on. I don't think he intended to come across the track like that. So Nienhuis is gone. That's the price you pay when you invert the field. Meanwhile, up in front, it is Andy Derry Cowie, way out in front now with a giant lead. 1.5 seconds over the second place driver, Luke White. We talked to Luke White during the pre-race interview. During the break, he said he was going to try to have a better race. Battling for third now. Oh my goodness, look who's in third position. It is Jeroen Earthquake. He has made his way all the way from 15th spot all the way up into third right now, working away. Sure, some of it was from attrition, but a lot of it was from battling on the track. Now it is Cager, your pole sitter. He is being passed left and right. Here comes Stephen Chambers, gets around him. Now making a room around Cager. This is Adam Tierney. He gets around it too. Next one to put Cager another spot down. Cager, they actually interlock wheels, but it's okay. Cager interlocks wheels with that yellow car there of Frederick Johansson. Cager holds off the position. Behind them, it is Juni Slavasi. Stay on this one right now. That's Cager out in front. Cager doesn't know where to go. He holds to the inside. Johansson on the outside, splitting the middle, which is the winner of the earlier race. Here he comes. And as that is your champion, making a move down on the inside. I think he's going to get it done. Uses up all the track. The unit moves up into what I believe is going to be 6th position now. Woo! Back to P2. Look at this battle. This is White on the outside, ducking to the inside and getting it done with no problem. It's Earthquake. Quakel now up into second. He's only got one more guy in his sights, and that is Andy Cowie. That interval is just under 2 seconds. You can see it right there. Look at that yellow number between Cowie and Quakel. Look at Cager here as he had a problem on the inner loop. He got together with the car of, it was Nienhuis. That was Janik Nienhuis, not Gunnar. He got off into the sand. He was able to bring it on. Not sure how much damage. Oh boy, he had a bad bump there as he went across the road. The car took a hop. We are back live now as we're looking at Stephen Cager. He has fallen from the pole back to 12th position. Meanwhile, up in front, let's go ahead, take our breath, let's set down the top 10 right now. Andy Cowie out in front by about, 1.5 seconds, but that's closing fast. Closing the gap like David Letterman's dentist is Jerome Quakel as he is coming in 2nd position. 3rd spot goes to Luke White. 4th position in a battle now. This is Stephen Chambers. He's in a battle with Oh, it's going to get this done. This is Adam Tyerney. Tyerney takes the move on the inside. He's going to close the doors. They work for one. We'll stay on this battle here. This is a battle for fourth spot. They are side by side. Back in the popcorn position is the feature race winner. That is Uni Silvasti looking for a way to go. And here comes Silvasti, another country into the mix. The United Nations gets one country larger. And now Silvasti tucked right alongside of the driver on the inside there. That's Tyerney. There's nowhere to go as Silvasti is blocked by the car up ahead of Chambers. Chambers first into the inner loop. He gets that done. I think now Silvasti has that spot taken over there in fifth. It should be short work to get up to fourth position. Chambers, let's stay on it a minute and see where he defends as they come in now to what I call the tongue of the boot. This first left-hander. They go through here. Now they go, Chambers starts through the laces. A great run out of the tongue. Here comes on the inside as they work their way into the toe. This is going to be Katie close the gate as it's going to be Uni Silvasti takes over third position. And he really has time still with 18 minutes left to race. He has time to get up to the leaders. Silvasti moves into third position. We'll keep running down our top 10. Chambers dropped to fourth. Tyerney back to fifth position. Holstein running in sixth. Johansson in seventh spot. They're in a battle. I got to take a quick look up the front to make sure that's not anything going on. We're okay up there. Let's go back now to eighth position then. And we got another battle going on here. This is Christoph Holstein in a battle with Frederick Johansson. Right behind him is Dan Brewer. Dan Brewer, name we haven't talked much about so far. Having a great run. I think Brewer's got something right now for Johansson. Johansson holding the left side down the main straight. Brewer with a great run. He's going to dive it into the inside, going into corner one. He doesn't even need to press the issue as Johansson breaks late. They do go side by side. Johansson should have a bit of momentum here coming off the high side, but it's not going to happen. And there goes Brewer up into ninth place. Drop Johansson back into... let me correct myself. Johansson drops back into ninth. Brewer makes it all the way up into 10th. Let me round out your final car in the top 10th. And it's Knut Martinsen. I don't expect him to be there long as he's going to start to run down those guys ahead of him. Woo! There you have it. Let's go back up front now. Take a little break with Andy Derry Cowie. Out there in front, that gap which was once 2 seconds has now shrunk. Look at that yellow number click in between. It was sitting there at 1.000 there for a minute. Andy Cowie, the gap is now 1 second. It's really what the driver in second position there, Jeroen Quakel, needs to think about is how quickly can I get around Cowie? I can't take up too much time getting this done because chasing behind me, well, actually there's Luke Wright in third position, but it won't be wrong until Silvasti gets there as well. Silvasti running in fourth position. We'll mind those two gaps right now. White has an interval back to Silvasti about 1.5 seconds, and it's about 1 second between Cowie all the way back to Quakel right now. So there's your top four. Let's give a tip of the hat to Andy Cowie, having a great run. I don't have my notes in front of me. I can't remember where he qualified for the feature event, but he certainly has the pace as he's able to have legitimate lap times. Let's look at the last lap. Oh, I don't have that possible either there. I was going to give you the lap last time. Sometimes my software doesn't boot up for these second events, so I can't give you a lap time on that one. But I can say this, just from eyeballing it, that Andy Cowie has some great pace right now, able to hold off Jeroen Quakel. We talked about Quakel. He comes from another platform where he was a champion. He's over here racing in iRacing right now. We welcome him to the iRacing community. Good to have you here as he gets used to what this platform is all about. Right now, he's running in second position. Let's go to P3. Oh, and that's, boy, even before we could go there, the job is done as Uni Silvasti gets that third position on Luke Wright before we can even catch it. So moving up to third is Silvasti, and that's what I was talking about up there, what Quakel has to be thinking about. My gosh, I got to get going because if I can't get around Cowie here, I'm going to be in a battle. Let's give you that interval right now between Quakel and Silvasti. It's 5.2 seconds. Boy, that's a pretty big gap with only 15 minutes to race. I think he's got to feel pretty comfortable right now. Remember that these are combined points. I think it's pretty safe to say that when you add up what you're going to get from the feature race and what you add up what you're going to get from the sprint race, coming out with the points lead is going to be one of these two drivers, either Quakel or Silvasti. Right now, Earthquake trying to find his way around Derry Cowie. Cowie, that gap has shrunk a little bit. With such a short 25 minutes race, it's hard to get through some of the back markers. We'll try to get that done in a second. We're going to stay on the lead here a little bit because I think this pass is going to happen pretty quick. I can tell you that some of the drivers that have called it a day here from this event: Phil Reed, Lawrence DeReich, Lee Robinson, Renee Osterkamp, Gunnar Nienhaus, Patrick Kessler, Ty McLeod. These guys are all 4 laps down or more. Also, the brother, Janik Nienhaus, has also called it a day. Last car racing right now, 1 lap down in 18th position. Christoph, last but not leaster. Well, let me tell you something. You are the last car on the track right now. Andy Cowie, still, the gap is shrinking. Cowie being chased. Now, oh my goodness, he is within shouting distance, and that is Jerome Earthquakel. Out in front, Cowie holding back that finished. Remember, Queichel had such a great run in the first event. He was challenging for the lead, had that mistake coming out of the inner loop, and now is fighting to hang on to position right now. We're going to look at this battle. P1 and 2 seem to be settling down. Let's go back to P5. Oh my goodness, we've got a pinata full of bees right now. Moving on the inside, they actually touch. They make contact, but they're able to get it done. That's Christoph Holstein battling alongside of him. Side by side is Stefan Chambers. Chambers, as they come down into the heel of the boot. Chambers on the outside, Holstein on the inside. They have the preferred position. They work up through the Achilles. Watching the whole thing happen is Dan Brewer watching the cars continue to be side by side up in front. And again, Chambers is going to surrender that position. Chambers falls back into 6th. 5th position goes to Holstein, but this is not done. Here comes Brewer looking to get 5th position. He's going to try to get a good run through this final corner. Oh, he's going to get a great exit out of it. He's going to gobble him up even before they get to the start-finish line. And that, I mean, gobble him up is Dan Brewer. But also in the tow back there behind 2 cars is Adam Tyree. Back there watching the whole thing happen. Meanwhile, I take a peek up in front. The lead still remains the same. We're not missing anything there. So let's stay on this battle. Brewer out in front on the... Oh, let me correct myself. It's Chambers there as I went away to look at the leaders. Chambers still holding down 5th position. We ride on board with Dan Brewer in 7th. Chambers in 6th. Brewer makes a move to the outside now. Looking on the inside right behind Brewer. That is Tierney. Oh, and he's off! He's off! Chambers has lost it into the sand. He didn't hit anything, but that's okay. He's going to bring it back out. He's going to lose positions to those guys. I think he's going to drop all the way back. We're going to get a quick replay. He's going to drop down behind Christian to catch. As we watch on the replay, they go through the inner loop. There's just too many cars and too little track. And there you go. You see that Chambers goes off into the beach. Doesn't spend too long out there, didn't need any sunscreen, got it back on the track pretty quick. As we come back live, Chambers is going to file now back into what I believe is going to be 11th position. Okay, let's go back up to 5th position to see how that thing is sorted out now. And sure enough, it looks like it's settled down. Holstein has that one. The battle goes back to this Brewer in 6th, with Tyree behind him in 7th, and 8th position, Frederick Johansson. Looking back at the lead, my goodness, let's go take a quick look up there because nothing has happened. Holding him off is Andy Derry Cowie. He still has that same amount of gap between him and Jeroen Earthquakel. Quakel doing everything he can to run him down, but it's not happening. What is being done is that the unit, Joni Silvasti, has closed the gap to 3.6 seconds. There's only 10 minutes to get there. Does the champion from last season have enough time to get into the mix? Can he go 2 for 2? We'll find out in just under 11 minutes, 10 and a half minutes till the checkered flag falls. Let's look at the leaders. They work their way through the inner loop. Here comes Earthquakel now. He's right behind Cowie. We'd like to welcome back to the booth my partner, Richard Losper. Richard, we've had an exciting one, and what's been going on? Andy Cowie, after some incidents on the first lap, has been able to hold off Jeroen Quakel, who is beginning to run him down. He's got 10 minutes to do it. Oh, here it is. Rich, I'm not going to turn it over to you because I thought the pass was going to be made. Quakel tried to look to see if he can get it done through the toe. It didn't happen. Let's follow this around till we go through this final corner here. We're going to work through the heel and then up through the 2 left-handers. We'll stay on this a little bit because I think the pass is going to be made. Richard, I'm going to give it back over to you here. I think the pass is going to be made as they come through the final left-hander back onto the main straight.
And here we are. Sorry about the technical difficulties I had. I just could not get iRacing to start for me. and I had to completely restart my whole system. Anyway, back to the racing here. We've got Jeroen Kwekel, the Earthquake we're going to be calling him from now onwards. He is following our leader, Andy Cowie. And this is what Luke White said, Bill, in the interview, that Cowie could come away with this race. Cowie doing a great job staying in front of the Earthquake at the moment. And in third place, we've got Yuri Silvasti, who's got a long way, about 3.5 seconds to catch up.
We'll stay on this. We'll watch this battle for the lead here, but there is another battle shaping up, and that is for fifth. We don't need to go there right now. Oh, it's a battle for the lead. Here it comes. It's finally going to get done. I was watching back there looking, and again, the preferred spot is on the outside. We talked to Jeroen about where do you like to go into the inner loop. He says, I don't care. I go where it's best. So right now he does it on the left-hand side. He gets that done. Now can Andy Cowie hold off the charging Jeroen Silvasti? Cowie did a great job. He was able to he held it all the way through with only 8.5 minutes to go. He held it for about, well, do the math. What is that, 16.5 minutes he was out there in front. I think even though he's going to be happy maybe to finish the second position. We talked about these points being combined. Remember, Kwekel finished third in the first round. The points are a little less here for the 25 minutes, but nonetheless, it'd be nice to have a nice lion's share of this sprint race points as he's up there pulling away now from Cowie. But I don't think that Yuri Silvasti is going to have anything to get to Kwekel. The question is, can Silvasti get to Cowie? As we look at 1, 2, and 3. Let's go back to fourth position real quick because I think it's starting to heat up there. Dan Brewer in a little bit of a battle there with Christoph Holstein. This is a battle for fifth position. I'm sorry, I forgot Luke Wright between these guys.
And if you hearing me okay there, Bill, yes, we've got a battle here between Dan Brewer and Christopher Holstein. Luke White up ahead of them in fourth place. So Luke has certainly gone a long way up from his finish position in the last race. And of course, the points will be counted together, I believe, for the two races. I thought they were two separate races, Bill. Am I mistaken there?
Well, they are two separate races, but they're scored differently. Let's go back to Caja right now, because I think we're about to see a pass from Sarah Dove. Sarah Dove, she's got her wings a-flapping. Oh, she's going to back out of it. She's nice to perch herself back into 14th position. She had a great run on Caja.
Nice run from Sarah there, as we see a mistake from the driver in front of her, which is Steve Kagera, who finished last on the lead lap. She's got a run on him, does Sarah at the moment. Well, she goes to the outside to try and make the pass. She's not yet level pegging, so she's going to have to struggle to get into and she backs it down. She backs it down into the inner loop. Good driving, Sarah.
Okay, and now we had Frederick Johansson had an off here. We're going to get it on the replay. This is looking like it's coming in what I call the tongue. It's this left-hander that sets up down into the toe of the boot. He just looped it, just missing him. Oh my goodness, was Knut Martinsen. I'm not sure if he did miss him, actually. I think Martinsen is damaged. Martinsen is now in a battle with, I think Martinsen got a little damage as Martinsen is in a battle with Christian Tkach. Tkach gets around and Martinsen's going to have to limp that around for the next 6 minutes.
And Bill, while we were calling action further back, looks like Jeroen Kwekel passed Andy Cowie and is now leading the race.
Yeah, we had that one on camera, so he's beginning to pull away from Cowie. Cowie's job now is to see if he can stay ahead of the unit Silvasti, who's coming up behind him. That interval right now, you can see there, 1.7 seconds. The guy who's had a quiet race, let's go to fourth position real quick. We haven't talked much about him. Luke White, just running all by himself. A nice run from him in fourth. Then we talked about this battle a little farther back. Looked like Brewer safely ahead of Holstein. There's a nice battle there. White, looks like Brewer maybe has a chance to catch back in there.
And Uni, looks like
White spins. Commentator's curse right in the middle of the inner loop. He looped it around in the loop. Dear. And he's going to drop a position. He's going to drop another one to Holstein. He's going to drop to Tyranny. Looks like he's going to cycle out. Oh, probably, and what's that going to be? Probably seventh position, I guess.
Yeah, it's dropped back to seventh position. The big news is that third place, Yuri Silvasti, is definitely catching up to Andy Cowie. In fact, The gap now is about 1.2 seconds. So expect Silvasti to make a move on Cowie in the not-too-distant future here, Bill.
Cowie having a great race nonetheless. I know he'd be satisfied with the podium.
Cowie heading into pits. Cowie heading into the pits. What's that all about?
This should not be. He must have had the wrong setup. Maybe he had on, maybe he did not put in enough fuel to go for the 25 minutes. They have a 40% max fuel. That doesn't mean they have to put it all the way the fuel. Maybe he cut it too short.
Well,
that's a horrible break.
Yep, because you certainly got enough fuel to go 25 minutes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In this race. So this will be disappointing for him. Yes, looks like it might have been fuel, Bill.
And he's back out. Maybe he got a black flag that he didn't serve. He had to come in for a stop and go. But it's going to cost him as he's fallen all the way down to 8th. My goodness. What a heartbreak for Andy Derry Cowie.
Yeah, these things happen. I mean, it's happened to me. You sit on the grid there, ready to go, and you realize, oh my goodness, I didn't put in enough fuel. So that can certainly happen. But Jeroen Kwekel in the lead of this race at the moment. Chasing him about 3 seconds back is Uni Silvasti. These were the two leaders in the previous race. They backed out in front again. Third place at the moment being held down by looks like Dan Brewer is in third place at the moment. Bill,
let's quickly go to this battle here for Evan Imre. We haven't talked about him much right now. He's running in what would that be, 8th position. He's just ahead of Andy Cowie. Now remember, Cowie's going to be fast. He's got a nice set of fuel in there now. He can go the distance for sure. But Frederick Johansson in there as well. So Cowie trying to make up for, trying to take a little bit of the salt out of the wound, if that is possible.
Yeah, he's in 9th place at the moment.
And there's the spin. It is Imre spun right in front of Cowie. Cowie gets around him. Commentators curse, and Cowie moves up into 7th spot. We're going to see this on the replay.
8th place, I think. Yep.
Yeah, this had to scare him.
And ahead of him is a gentleman we spoke about a lot in the last race. That's Christian Tkach. And then we've got Luke White ahead of him. And then some of the guys we never spoke about in the last race, Bill, all up there in the top 10 now. Of course, that's due to the regrid where the last shall be first, if you want to go biblical a little bit there.
Always works for me. 10th place driver Odd Jonas Vilman running in 10th. Blinking a little bit. Hopefully his internet connection will keep him around until the end. 11th, Evan Emery. We saw him in that battle. He had that spin, I believe, dropped back. Look at that, Sarah Dove running in 12th position. Does Sarah finally get around Cager? I think she did. Nice job. Yeah, Sarah, not only did she get around him, left him behind.
It's going to be last lap board coming out on the, I believe, on the next time by. Yep. And Jeroen Kwekel is the leader of our race at the moment. Uni Silvasti chasing, but with that sort of gap, he is not going to catch the earthquake before we get to the end of this race. Dan Brewer currently sitting there in 3rd place. 4th place, Christoph Holstein. And in 5th place, Adam Tierney. So that's your top 5 at the moment as we get the white flag coming out for our leader.
Look at that great Dougie Beard camera angle shot as they were both coming at you down the main straight. You can see the leader and the 2nd place driver both in the frame together. But right now, it's all about Jeroen Kwekel. Of course, he was... Excuse me. He was up front before, but he made a mistake. We have a cough button. I got to figure out how to use it. Right now, we'll follow him all the way around as he works his way through the inner loop. Remember that they combined the scores, so he's going to get the winner's share here of the sprint race points, but he's also going to get 3rd place share of the featured race points. That seems like that would be a pretty good day. Yeah, I guess it would be, but if you take into account that the guy behind him, the unit, Uni Silvasti, is going to get the lion's share of the feature race and 2nd place. I think when you add them all up, when we go out of here, your big winner for point-wise is going to be the unit. But both of these guys are going to get credit for a win, and only, let's count the corners, 1, 2, 3, 4 more corners to go for Jeroen Quakel to bring this car around. He's got the right-hander. He negotiates that one well. Up through the left-handers. There's 1 and 2 of them to go. There's the first one. Just working his way now through the second one.
Yep, he's going to win this one, and I'm going to take the opportunity to call this last corner here. He's about to go through the last corner, keeps the speed up, gets out on close to the wall there, and is about to cross the line. Jeroen Quakel wins race number 2 of round number 1.
The sprint race version, absolutely. Looking for a battle from anybody back in the field here. Let's go up to this little battle here. Maybe White being chased by Tkach. Tkach is going to need a great drive off of this final corner to get this done. I don't think so. I think
close enough. No.
Let's give Luke White 6th position. And 7th place is going to go to Christian Tkach, who had a pretty good run this week, though. Cowie's going to come across in 8th after running up in 3rd, or running up in the lead, running out of gas. Johansson gets 9th,
well,
I
we
believe.
think so.
10th position to Emery. Maybe the Federal Express guy came to the door.
Hey, this things like that can happen, but I don't think so because he did pull into the pits.
Hey, another
all by
position
himself.
for Sarah Dove as she gets up into 11th ahead of Odd Jonas
Nice.
Vilman. Nice job from him and from her. Steve, our guy who started on the pole, boy, it was eventful. He's going to finish in 13th position. I will say this, he didn't cause any trouble.
And Bill, I have to say, it's so great to have female drivers in these races. I can only recall of all the races that we've been calling 3 female drivers ever that I have had the pleasure to see behind the wheel of various cars. The MX-5 races, of course, we had the young lady whose name escapes me right at the moment.
Sky Willis, I believe.
Sky
Yes.
Willis, indeed. And then we had Julie, and her last name escapes me, in Champion Motorsports. And now we have Sarah Dove here in the Apex online racing group. So fantastic stuff, girls. We love calling your names in these races, which unfortunately appears to be mostly a man's sport.
Well, with that recap of the feminine half of iRacing, let's go ahead and take a short break. What we're going to do is we'll come back, run down the entire finishing order, then we will do driver interviews and close up shop. Boy, this is the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the Apex Online Racing League. Back in a few. Welcome back to the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the Apex Online Racing Formula Renault 2.0 League. And boy, did we have an exciting sprint race. We've had two events for you today, the 40-minute feature and the 25-minute sprint. Was not supposed to have pit stops, but one driver decided that he'd put in a pit stop just to make it interesting. Let's run down your top 10, and then we'll give it over to Richard to do the rest of the way. Jeroen Earthquakel gets your win. Today he finished third in the feature, gets the win in the sprint race. Your big points winner, though, goes to the unit. Uni Slavasti going to get second position. Dan Brewer had a nice run up to third, benefited from some mistakes from others. Christian Holstein gets fourth. Adam Tyranny in fifth. Luke White gets sixth. Christian Tkach going to get that seventh position. He has had a great race. Andy Derry Cowie going to be in eighth position. Frederick Johansson gets ninth. And rounding out your top 10, Evan Imre. Richard?
And Sarah Dove gets 11th place in the second race. Then in 12th place, it was Odd Jonas Vilman. In 13th place, we had Steve Kagerer, who I guess started on the pole position. In 14th place, Stephen Chambers. 15th place, Knut Martinsen. 16th place, last car on the lead lap in the second race went to Dylan Hember. Then we had Robert Plumley in 17th place. Christoph Leister in 18th place. These were both one lap down. And Yannick Nienhaus in 19th place. And the 20th place was indeed Tyler McLeod. Shall I do the rest?
Well, I'll get these here. McLeod caught up in that early lap one incident. In fact, all these drivers now, about 14 laps down, were caught up in the big one that happened going into corner one. McLeod, Patrick Klessler. Gunnar Nienhaus is going to be very disappointed with a second place finish here. Another one, Renee Osterkamp, also caught up in that early incident. Lee Robinson. Lawrence DeReich, who I thought was going to have a great one. Lauren finishes in 25th position, a poor performance for him overall today. And then rounding out the last driver, former champion Phil Reed in 26. So it doesn't matter if you're a newcomer or a champion, the racing gods are fickle. All right, let's go ahead and bring in some of our interviewed drivers. Let's go ahead and have Richard talk to us. As I talked to him during the break, let's have Richard go ahead and talk to our sprint race winner here today, and that is Jeroen Earthquakel.
Okay. Jeroen, have you got a copy?
Hello, yes, I'm here.
Yeah, second time we're talking to you. We have now nicknamed you the Earthquake. I hope that that's okay with you. How was this sprint race for you? Unfortunately, I did not see the start. I had some technical issues. But tell us about your race. How was it?
Well, obviously, I'm sure you guys would have mentioned it on the broadcast, but the cold tires make a big difference, especially in lap 1, obviously. So... well, I knew that there was gonna be some carnage because it's pretty much unavoidable in a certain way, and there was indeed. But I must say that I was really lucky to avoid any kind of carnage, and I think that set us up for a nice win.
Yeah. We realized there was a big accident on lap 1 in turn 1 as well. But overall now, out of the two races, you've got the second place from the first race and the first place here, and Uni's got first and second. So both of you basically on level pegging for the first round.
Yeah, that's nice, but I'm here as a very new driver. I'm trying to learn a lot. There were a lot of things I did wrong in the last 2 races, but I'm trying to gather experience more and more in order to be more competitive later on in the season. But it is a good start. It's a good foundation to build on. I learned a lot, and I think that's what's very important.
Well, we think, just looking from the booth here, that you did a fantastic job in both races. So congratulations on your second place and your first place. And we look forward. We're also learning as we have you guys as a new customer for the Global Sim Racing channel, and a new type of racing for us to call as well. So we're all learning, but we will all get better, no doubt, as the races go through. Congratulations once again, and thanks for talking to us. Your winner today in the second race, Jeroen, the Earthquake Quakel. Back to you, Bill.
Okay, I'm going to bring in our fifth place finisher here today, and that is Adam Tierney. First of all, Adam, how am I doing on your last name? I'm going with Tierney. How is it?
It's all right.
Tierney. Okay, I can do that. We'll learn from Tierney. Well, let me tell you, let's go to the opening lap of this sprint race. When being in your cockpit, it was kind of watching like an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where everyone's shooting at him, but nobody can seem to hit him. My gosh, everything was breaking out around you, and you just kind of drove through it like nothing was there.
Yeah, it's a bit crazy going through turn 1. I think someone spun off onto the inside wall, and then Chris Leister was right next to me and just got completely swiped out. So I was quite lucky to get through all of that.
Yeah, the seas parted for you, and then you just drove up there, and you came out of there probably in about 6th or 7th position. Then you were able to make up a few more. How did the second race compare to the first race?
There was definitely a lot more action in the second race. I think the sprint races are really good racing.
When you are back there running in the featured race, are you concentrating? Okay, I'm on the lead lap, so I'm going to get a pretty good starting position. Let's see, where did you actually start it? You were gridded in 11th, so you finished about mid pack, I guess, of the lead lap cars. Do you keep that in mind when you're racing in that featured race?
Not too much really. You just kind of do your thing, just try and get into a rhythm, and then try and finish as high as possible.
Yeah. We saw incidents both in the featured race and then in the sprint race early on. It takes a while for the tires to come in, doesn't it?
Yeah, it can take even like 4 or 5 laps just to get a good grip out of the tires because the pressures and everything. But yeah, it just takes time.
We got in our first round here of 12. Are you happy with your result today? When you combine the 2 races together, is about what you expected?
Yeah, that's much better than I expected. I was expecting to be much further down, maybe just tailing on the end of the lead lap, but definitely much better than I expected.
What's your hometown? Sounds like you're from the UK. What's your hometown?
Birmingham,
okay.
Yeah.
We'll keep that in mind. All right, congratulations on a 5th place here in the sprint race and a good result overall through the day. Adam Tierney. Let's go ahead and bring in... Richard, one more interview. Who would you like to talk to?
Let's see. Let's talk to Christoph Holstein. He finished in 4th place in this race.
All right.
So we'll bring in Christoph. Christoph, have you got a copy?
Yeah, hello.
Christoph, good finish here in this second race, the sprint race here, 25 minutes of racing, a big accident in turn 1 on the first lap, and you find yourself finishing up in 4th place. How do you feel about that?
I'm very surprised, to be honest. I was very surprised that I didn't get tangled up in that turn 1 incident, because I was just driving through a ghost car or something like that. It was very, very weird. I thought my race ended right there, but it didn't. And it was very, very fun to drive afterwards, having some awesome battles. And I wouldn't have expected this result of my dreams, to be honest.
Yeah, we just spoke to the guy who finished behind you, Adam Tierney, and he was surprised as well. So looks like that big accident gave you guys a really good start. So now the first race is done. This is round number 1. We head off to round number 2. Is your next race. How do you feel about the competition and the championship in general?
it's very, very exciting. I watched. It's my first season in this league. I watched it back, many seasons ago, and very, very exciting to be now a part of it, and really looking forward to the next races, of course.
Okay. Well, Christoph, congratulations on your 4th place here in this the second race, and we will look forward to seeing you in the next one. Back to you, Bill.
Thank you. And I'm going to bring in our final 2 interviewers here because they're get to know these guys off. Usually we don't try to do too many, but since it's our first race, we'll get some of these guys in here. We're going to talk to Phil Reed, and also we're going to talk to Evan Emery as well. Evan finished 10th in the sprint race here today, and then Phil, my goodness, former champion, didn't do so well. Let me talk with Phil first. Hang on a second, Evan. Phil, you got caught up in that first lap incident. You were back there, you saw it all happen in front of you, and then you got collected from the side.
Yeah, it's not a great start to the season, but it seems everyone else had fun, so I think that's all that matters to me, being in the position that I am. But yeah, I mean, I thought I'd done the short race in the first race, but then the second race was even shorter. It's amazing.
Yeah, sometimes once you're a champion, it's hard to come back. You get that sophomore jinx, although it's been a while since you got that champ. This would be more like your senior graduate student jinx. Have you picked up a win since your championship season?
No, thank you for reminding me. No, I haven't won. I haven't won once yet in the Formula Renault. It's not been great. I've had a few good performances, but nothing's come over yet. Everyone's just been too strong.
Well, let me throw it over here to another guy. He had a little better result in the sprint race. He finished 10th, started 26th though, picked up 16 spots. Evan Emery. Evan, is it Emery? Emery, is that how you say your last name?
Yeah, more or less.
More or less. You guys are so kind to us. Well, how 10th place? How'd you do in the first? I don't have my notes in front of me. How'd you do in the featured event?
Well, turn 1, I was another victim of turn 1. Patrick Kessler slid across to the right, and he stuck me in the wall, and Phil was right behind me, and unfortunately he got caught up in that as well. So that was the first race.
Phil, were you caught in the first race as well? Were you caught in that first race with Kessler as well, huh?
Yeah, I was
I didn't realize.
to the left. Yeah.
Oh, it's good I bring you guys both in. Misery love company, so it's good to bring you both in here together. Well, Phil, you did a little bit better here in the second race. How did you manage to avoid the chaos that went up? You started 26th. It all happened in front of you.
Well, actually, I didn't manage to do better this race. I went out at turn 2 in the first race, and I went out at turn 1 in the first race.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have you as a 6th place. Do I not have you shown? I show you as a 10th place finisher.
Sorry,
that was
he was
my
supposed to be talking to me.
Oh, yeah, Evan. I'm sorry, Evan. Sorry, Evan. How did you go for you in the second race?
So I stayed well back because I was starting last. I stayed well back from the carnage that ensued, and after lap 1, I think it was 16th, 15th after lap 1. So yeah, a lot of cars went out, and then basically it was surviving because there was 4 or 5 more people that crashed out in front of me, or they had damage from turn 1. So 10th place, it could have been 8th. I spun with a couple of laps to go, and that kind of lost me those 2 positions. But 10th, I'll take it after the disaster I had in the first race.
Well, we're getting to know everybody here in GSRC for our first round cover. We sure are excited to be able to cover it. Sounds like I hear a little bit of Scotland in there. Am I getting that right?
Okay.
What's your hometown?
Hawick is how it's pronounced.
Hawick, okay. Well, guys, we are certainly happy to I'm sorry that Phil, you have a championship under your belt, so I guess it's not too bad. You had a pretty disastrous race. It's good to see that Evan, you got a 10th here today, so congratulations on that, guys. We hope to get you back in for interviews, maybe with a little bigger smiles on your face next time.
That'd be nice.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, guys. Phil Reed, a tough race for him. And then, of course, it was Evan Emery who finished 10th here in this final event. Okay, that's going to wrap it up for us, Richard. Did you have a good time? I know you missed a little bit there, but did it feel good for you?
Yeah, I'm disappointed at the technical issues I had, but I will certainly try and do better next time. It is a fantastic car that they have here. They picked a great track to start their first round on. I am very happy with the Apex online racing group coming on board with GSRC. I think we're going to have a great time going forward.
Well, guys, hope you had a good time watching. We'd like a few people here that we'd like to thank. First of all, big thanks to Apex Online Racing for organizing the Formula Renault 2.0 League and contracting with GSRC to broadcast it. We know you have a lot of choices when you fly. Thanks for flying GSRC. Thanks to the companies, equipment, and software that you see on the screen right now that we use on the broadcast. The original music that you heard today, I know you guys are new to GSRC, so if you want to go ahead, check out Eric Echolm and Casey Lalonde. See the screen for how to contact them and download some of their digital stuff. It's good stuff. AOR returns next week, we think, for round 2 from Donington. There is some talk about postponing the December 23rd event 1 week because of its proximity to Christmas, but whenever it shows up, GSRC will be there to bring you all the action no matter the date. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including dates and times of upcoming broadcasts, or to find an archived broadcast, or maybe just to arrange GSRC to broadcast a race of your own, your best bet is www.globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel. And now, we'd like to close up shop on behalf of my mic mate, Richard Losper, our director, Amjad Yaman, our camera artist, Dougie Beard. I'd like to thank all of you for watching. And with that said, we're off to have fun storming the castle. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.